What's up, everyone? How exciting was this past weekend, the first match of the season for your Orange County Soccer Club that saw them come away victorious 4-2 over Oakland Roots? That sounds very familiar. Sounds like a prediction that was made this past episode. We'll get into that. We'll look ahead to what's coming up next for Orange County. Let's get this whole fun thing started. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club, maybe with a little bit more mixed in, sprinkled in there. Helping out on this episode, we've got the original partner, the Robin to my Batman, Dylan. Dylan, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I really enjoyed Saturday night's performance, and I especially enjoyed the result.
The result is nice. A result that sees Orange County sitting top of the table in the Western Conference due to goal differential, I believe, is why they are there. A great offensive output with barely any goals from offensive players. Brad, welcome to the show as well. Brad, how are you feeling after the 4-2 victory for Orange County? Did it calm any nerves you might have had entering into the season?
I mean, we were talking last week about this team is built to outscore the other team, and they definitely did that. Although I will admit the defense played a lot better than I thought coming into the season this game.
Yes, and we'll talk about the defense, the lineup, because it seems like one of those players that we all have penciled in as a defensive player was playing higher up the pitch, which I know we're all concerned with the lack of defenders on the roster, and we're utilizing defenders up the pitch a little bit more. That's an interesting tactical idea there. Let's also welcome back the one who was not here last week, the bearded one himself. That is Larry. Larry, first of all, welcome back. We didn't miss you last week, but how are you feeling after this most recent performance, or the first performance of the season for Orange County?
How am I feeling? I am feeling inspired. I am feeling enlightened. My heart is full. It is swollen with Orange County Soccer Club victory and 3 points.
The 3 points. Definitely an important 3 points for Orange County. It's very rare, I think, that you see Orange County open the season with 3 points, especially in front of the home crowd, which is awesome to see. With all the new changes at the stadium, I mean, they're minor changes, but new changes like Gnarlyville and the Michelob Ultra section and the County Line Coalition, the supporters section. It's now sort of marked off for everyone. But the performance on the field, amazing performance from your Orange County Soccer Club. I hope the fans enjoyed what they saw. We all talked about it. This is going to be an exciting season, if not only because of the number of goals that Orange County is probably going to be scoring on the season. We saw that early, 4 goals against Oakland. Let's get into the thoughts on this match. I'm going to go to you first, Dylan. Just your overall high-level thoughts on this match from what you saw in the first match that counted for Orange County this season.
I don't know if I've ever actually had high-level thoughts before, but it's appreciated. I'm pleasantly surprised to see the way that, at Danny Stone's Orange County looks. I'm pretty happy with the way things did. I am ultimately looking forward to seeing how it plays out over 10, 15 match weeks, but thought we moved the ball well. I thought we took advantage of our opponents well, and I think that's kind of what we're going to get a lot of our results out of. We don't have to be the best team in the league, but if we can make match to match count, that works. And hey, Cameron Dunbar, he never left, but he's back somehow. what a performance from him. I'm over the moon and delighted for him.
It was beautiful from Cameron Dunbar and from what we saw there. I wish we would have had time while the lineup graphic was up on the screen. I'm sure producer Andy can bring that up after we see all the highlights on this stream. But I'm wondering if that was, in fact, the lineup that was submitted to the league as far as the starting lineup. You had Nico not even listed as a defender on that graphic. I wonder if this is part of Danny Stone's tactic, is just to trick the other team into thinking we're going to play one way and playing a completely different way. Who knows? Brad, your thoughts on this match, and do you have any concerns with this team as far as the fact that we scored 4 goals and only one of them comes from a legit offensive player?
No, I mean, the fact of the matter is you want your goals coming in. Big shout out to Nico Benalcazar for that free kick, opening up his account with, quite a banger. This team is set up to pass the ball down the sides. Dogman scoring the first goal off an assist from, or no, do we call that an assist? Anyways, Dunbar has an assist in the game with a great pass that gets headed in by Zuback. This team played a lot better offensively than we've seen over the past, season and a half. And it shows as a result because we're the only team in the league who scored 4 goals in opening weekend. Definitely a couple of things to tighten up on the defense late, giving up a couple of goals. One of them was a penalty, which obviously isn't ideal. However, I don't think you really can complain about the team effort here. And a big shout out to Mike Watts on the air as we were celebrating the Ethan Zuback goal in the County Line Coalition with the smoke going off. He says something along the lines of, the smoke is still dissipating, and yet maybe we'll see some more. Benalcazar buries the free kick, and smoke goes off again.
Yeah, and before I get to Larry, I want to jump on there too because you're talking about Mike Watts and his call. I believe it almost seems like he knew ahead of time that Nico was going to get that goal, because I believe he said something like there's no one else that you'd want taking this kick curling in from that left-hand side than Nico. He's good at these, and apparently Mike knows more about the Orange County player than at least we do, but we haven't seen much of him to this point. So that definitely is an excuse for the Orange County fans. Larry, let me ask you this question. Hey, tell us your thoughts on this match, but also share with us how beautiful the setup and the start of that counterattack, if you can call it that, was from Colin Shuttler starting the path to the ball to get to Ryan Dogman for that first goal. How much credit do you give to Colin Shuttler for his quick release of the ball and finding a perfect release in the midfield?
That was impressive. Colin has incredible, let's call it goalie vision, whatever the proper terminology for it is. But moving the ball down the pitch and then getting out to Haggart out there on the right, or I think it went to Dunbar, then to Haggart across the middle for Haggart for the shot that was deflected, and Dogman with the tap in. And if you look at the replay of it, you can see when that ball is going across the face of the goal, before it even gets to Dogman, you can see Cameron in the back of that video for just a split second. He's already got his arms raised because he already knows what's going to happen. And Cameron was absolutely phenomenal all night long. Again, it reminded me of the New Mexico game last year where he just abused that left back from New Mexico, whoever it was. And on Saturday night, he just did it again. I genuinely felt bad for Camden Riley because he's a good player, but he was made to look like he didn't know what he was doing out there. And on that free kick from Nico, he definitely didn't know what he was doing because the guy didn't jump. He didn't do anything. He threw his head to the right and the ball went over his left shoulder and into the back of the net. It was just, there were so many good things that we saw on this game Saturday night. And I'm excited for it because we're all talking about all these guys who can score goals. Zuback, the new guys who are coming in. Zuback, Silla, McKinnon, Traeger. And yet 2 defensemen, a midfielder, and 1 forward scored a goal. And I'll tell you what, you get firepower like that throughout an entire season, it's going to be a tough team to beat from week 1 to week 34.
Now, let the Ryan Dogman goal. Are we calling him a defender because he was playing more of an attacking role, I believe, for a good portion of this match?
In
I
this
know
particular,
on paper he's a defender, but he's really more of a left midfielder, left winger for Orange County in this match. Pedro was the one staying back more on defense, I believe.
and we can call him that. And then in that case, then you've got one defenseman and two midfielders scoring goals. And
Yeah.
when you've got these great goal scorers up front, or these guys who are supposed to be, but you're getting it from other places, that makes for a very, very dangerous team.
As my flag is falling behind me, I'll have to get that fixed at some point. But let me ask you this, Dylan, because if we go back to 12 months ago, start of the season in 2024, I don't think we see the Cameron Dunbar and the Ethan Zubak that we saw in this match. They look like completely different players. They look like they're comfortable now in Orange County. They look like they are ready to come into this season, as opposed to last season. It was just a little shaky. They didn't look quite at their top of their game for most of the beginning of last season. How exciting is that to see players like Dunbar and Zubak look like they're in perfect form to start the season?
It's really exciting. This is where I wish I could be a fly on the wall and really get to sit, in the locker room and see what did Danny Stone say to them when he took over. Did he pull them aside and say, "Hey, everything's going to flow through you. You guys are going to make the difference. You are going to make this team tick." We'll never know, right? We can probably ask, and I have a feeling that both Cameron or Ryan Dogman, are going to be just very soft-spoken about it from all of our interactions with them so far. But look, one weekend we scored 4 goals. Last year, one weekend we were talking about, well, we got a point, and Colin Shuttler scoring was really cool, but we didn't deserve anything out of that. And now look at us. We played well, and yeah, it was a little bit messy, especially towards the end. We got 3 points. So
3 points is great. 3 points is good to have off of something like this. Brad, any concerns that you saw? Obviously, giving up 2 goals. One of them was a penalty, but still giving up 2 goals. When you were pretty much dominating for most of this match, is there any concerns that you see on that are going to make you nervous going forward on the season from what you saw?
I mean, really, the one breakdown that I would have here, obviously giving up a penalty, I think it's a little bit of a dive, a flop, as you see on the screen. But I'd probably, as a referee, I'd probably give the penalty as well. The player, I think that's Brewitt, just kind of steps in front and, causes a contact instead of really going for the ball. However, I do think it was a little weak. The first goal where Wolfgang Prentice scored, I would have liked to see the defender close out a little bit better there. He's not looking past the ball. He looks to score and really doesn't get anything but a good look for that shot. The only other complaint I have is coach better be wary about tearing an Achilles, because those celebrations where he was popping off on the sideline are already strong contenders for celebrations of the year. Ray, put it in our spreadsheet. Celebrations of the year, skipper.
Guess what, Brad? Brad, you have now taken ownership of that category. So when we compile the list of possible options, you get to go ahead and put that together. And hey, I know I knew I loved Coach Danny Stone based on the way the team finished last year, and even watching the start to this year. His celebrations, I love him even more because he looks like me on the sidelines when I'm coaching youth soccer, running around, high-fiving the players, fist pumps in the air. So I love it. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to see the passion from your coach. I think it rubs off on the players, and I think that's why you have this really confident Orange County team, this really motivated and exciting Orange County team. Let's sort of switch topics here really quick, Larry, because you were at the game, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. You were at the match.
Of course.
All right. So obviously Dan was on 2 weeks ago talking about some of the changes at the stadium with the whole general GA section now is split into 3 distinct sections. And obviously some other things the club is trying to do to try and really amp up the experience, the game day experience. What were your thoughts overall on what you saw? Give us an idea of what you saw from the fans in Gnarlyville, in the Michelob Ultra section, the supporter section and whatever else you saw that maybe we didn't get to see on camera?
First of all, the badging that they put up out there, I think it looks great with the supporter section, Michelob Ultra section, and then Gnarlyville. It really, really jumps out at you, and you can see it. Now, of course, in the supporter section, once they hang the flags up over the edge of the rail, there you can't see that part in the front. And then in the back, you can't really see too much either because you got people standing up, and that's okay too. But what I saw up there in the general admission in those three sections, the County Line Coalition was the County Line Coalition. They were loud. They were boisterous. They were doing what they do, which is why I love those guys so much. And I count myself lucky to be a part of that supporters group. In the Michelob Ultra section, hey, you know what? It's a section that is, let's say, promoting having a beverage or two. And you could see that going on, and you could tell by the voices of the people that were in that section that they were taking full advantage of that. And then right next to it, just full of kids and family in Gnarlyville. And they were having such a good time. Now, of course, if Orange County was on the losing end, they probably wouldn't have had as good a time, but winning, brings good times. I like that part. I like the badging on there. I like the new player posters up in the front of the stadium. I think those look really sharp. I was wondering when they were going to make the switches because, of course, we no longer have Marcus Knackham. We no longer have Owen Lamb. And we certainly couldn't have them up at the front of our stadium with them no longer playing on the team. So, but all in all, it was a great Orange County Soccer Club experience that night. And I think it's going to generate just more and more fans coming in. And, hopefully the team gets to a point where they're denying people tickets. Sorry, we're sold out. Nobody else can come. We don't have a seat for you. And I think that's the direction that the team's heading in this season.
And I believe on the stream, you could hear they were announcing it as a sellout. Obviously, anytime there's a sellout for a professional sporting match, it doesn't mean every seat is filled. It really goes more based off of the tickets that were sold on there. So obviously, I know people always like to sort of call out, "Hey, it's not a sellout. Look at the empty seats." But I believe, right? I didn't hear wrong, right, Larry? It was announced as a sellout.
It was announced as a sellout, and as it happens in Orange County, soccer club games, there was still a lot of people over there in, I don't know what the section they're calling it now, over there behind the scoreboard where all the food is and all of that. There was still a lot of people over there watching. I mean, probably a couple hundred sitting over there on that, on the far end. So I don't worry about that. The numbers are the numbers, but this team's going to put numbers up, whether it's goals or whether it's attendance. It's going to be a big season.
It will be a big season as long as they can continue to have performances like they did in the opener against Oakland. And to continue that on, they're going to be hosting a newcomer to the USL Championship, formerly of USL League One. Lexington SC comes to the champ this coming weekend for a match against Orange County. This is one of those tough ones to really look at and give your thoughts on because it's legit. I mean, obviously there's going to be players on the roster that the names are going to be familiar, but it's legit a new team at the USL Championship level with only one match to show. What are your thoughts with this upcoming match? I'll go to you first, Dylan, at home against Lexington. Is there anything that you've been able to scout out on this team? Anything that worries you against Orange County?
I haven't done my homework, but of course, I don't have to do anything come Saturday night, so that's very much my privilege. What worries me? Can we repeat the performance that we had on Saturday night? I think we can, but can this be a consistent team? If we open up a nice, good run to the season, yeah, we're going to be in a good place all year long. And as exciting as the back half of last season was, I think I can speak for many of us when I say I'd rather not. I love the playoff chase, but I just think for my health and well-being, let's just make it. Let's just settle down, get there, hang out in the playoff places all year long. Be more than happy with that. So I think this is an opportunity for Orange County to really just say, hey, we're going to do what we want to do here. They adjusted well to Oakland, and I know I mentioned, take advantage of teams' weaknesses. Can we do that on the fly and with one real match under our belts, and hopefully the return of a handful of players as well? What does Orange County look like? Gaining some strength and getting some steam heading into week 2.
Let me go to you, Brad. And let's just say this, right? It's not like Lexington is a bunch of nobodies. There are some familiar names when you look at the roster. You got Speedy Williams, you got Cameron Lancaster, you got former Orange County player Sofiane Jafal. What are your thoughts, Brad, on this Lexington squad? Are you scared or worried for anything coming into this match in Orange County?
If you were to put a team together and take it to the USL Championship and you wanted to have recognizable faces with some young up-and-coming players, Louisville's done it properly. I think the one name that you should have said instead of Williams is Mr. Cameron Lancaster, one of the most prolific scorers in all of USL history with Louisville. Look, he's 32. He's torn an ACL in his career, but he's still Cameron Lancaster knows how to bang a couple balls into the net, and he knows how to create chances and really knows how to score. And that's something that I don't feel like the Oakland team had this past weekend. And Joe Hafferty, formerly of Las Vegas, scored an absolute banger of a first goal in what would be a 2-0 clean sheet against a, kind of lackluster Hartford squad. A couple of other names that should register for anybody in the USL that you should know of. Logan Ketterer, the keeper, who has been everywhere, most notably El Paso. You have another former player, Marcus Epps, who's been all over the league as well. Colorado Switchbacks is one of those teams. And then finally, a familiar face in the Orange County, a Frenchman who kind of left the team halfway through the year last year, Sofiane Jafal. Is on this Lexington team as well. So there are a couple familiar names that you guys in the USL universe should know. And they're going to play a very controlled style. That's just how they are. They're going to look to score, and Oakland didn't have that. So it'll be interesting to see if the defense can really play up to a little bit higher of a competition.
And just to throw it out there, I did mention Cameron Lancaster's name when I was calling out some names. I wouldn't forget him, former academy product at Tottenham. So I would not forget Cameron Lancaster. Let me go to you, Larry, really quick. Thoughts on Lexington, and do you feel sorry for Lexington, the players and the fans, that they got thrown into the Western Conference? Thus, there's going to be a lot of cross-country travel for that team compared to other teams based out of the East Coast. Is there any do you feel bad for their fans at all, or even their players in that situation? And throw on anything else you might know about Lexington before we move on.
I don't know a lot about Lexington, but here's what I can tell you about feeling bad for other teams. I don't have sympathy for other teams. I don't care how many times you have to travel or how far you have to travel. I only care about how far and how often Orange County Soccer Club has to travel. So them having to come all the way across the country, to play us on a Saturday. Hey, you know what? I like when we get to play teams who might be a little tired, who might be a little bit jet lagged. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of teams who don't have any supporters in our stadium with drums making a bunch of noise. I'm a big fan of that as well. So if one person is in there in a Lexington kit, good for them. But I don't think there's going to be too much more than that. So do I feel bad? No, not even a little.
Okay, there we go. Straight up. He doesn't feel bad for the opposing team's fans that have to make.
No.
And it's not just against Orange County. They're going to have to probably make a trip out to Northern California and to Arizona. I haven't looked at their schedule, but they're going to have a lot of West Coast trips, which really sucks for a team out of South Carolina. Dylan, what player needs to step up for Orange County this weekend to get the 3 points? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Where did you say? What state did you say Lexington is in?
I don't know. Oh, they're in Kentucky. I said South Carolina.
Okay, same good.
Thing. There's no difference.
I had SC stuck in my head, and I was just thinking South Carolina on the top of my head. I apologize. I got it wrong. It is Kentucky, but it's still a long distance. It's not like it's a short trip. I guess it's sort of like what Memphis had to do last year. They sort of slotted into that Memphis slot. So I guess it's not as horrible as it could have been. Dylan, who needs to step up for Orange County for this match to get the 3 points? Or do they just have to show up and they're going to get it? You could say that if you wanted to, Dylan.
Yeah, I don't actually want to throw any players under the bus here. I thought we had a good performance and a good weekend. Yes, Maddie, I agree. Ray is, in fact, canceled for not knowing geography and for a whole bunch of other reasons, too.
Maddie King is a very insightful young lady.
Perhaps our smartest fan.
All right. No more
specifically-
Capelli news for Maddie. I'll just call it out right now.
This is what I get for mentioning it. We've already gone off the rails. Look, I really don't think it's fair to single out a player over the weekend. I thought everyone performed well. I think the team overall performed quite well. Again, got a little messy towards the end. Hey, when you've got a big lead and the other teams have done a lot, I get it. You become a little bit complacent. And it was just enough to where you almost start to think, hopefully they've learned. Don't be complacent. But nothing had to get crazy. Show up, put on a show, show everybody why they were either right to trust Orange County and that Orange County is a top 4 team in the USL, or show everybody as to why they were wrong and think that Orange County isn't a good team.
Brad, your thoughts?
This team performed very well in the first game. I wouldn't say perfect, but I would say that I'm not coming out of that first match saying that we don't deserve to be at the top of the conference based on that result. Looking forward, hopefully we play against the other top teams in the conference with the same level of prestige, and this week 2 matchup is going to be a perfect test to see just how good this team really is.
Definitely will be. I feel like a lot of people slept on Orange County heading into this season. A lot of the experts were not putting Orange County or not considering Orange County a team that has a legit chance, I guess, at winning the title, lifting the cup. I wasn't there. I actually was really high on this team heading in. Thus, I picked the correct score for the first match. Larry, is there anything that if you see from Orange County, you're like, oh, great, this is not going to go well for us?
How so? In regards to Saturday's game, or
yes, Saturday's
this coming
match
against Lexington. Well, I mean, when you talk about some of the players that you talked about that Lexington has, I don't care if Cameron Lancaster is 32 years old and he's torn an ACL. The guy can play. The guy can put the ball in the back of the net. Period. End of story. Somebody in the comments said Sofian Jafal is not a difference maker. I would absolutely disagree with that. I thought Sofian was terrific when he was with us, and I was sorry that he left. I wanted to see him with us for an entire season, but we didn't get to have that. I think that we're going to be okay on Saturday. I don't see the team folding up and collapsing and not having the night that we all are hoping that they have. But at the same time, this is a USL Championship game. It's an any given Sunday or any given Saturday. So the team's just got to go out and perform like they did this past Saturday. And, if they're not quite up to putting up 4 goals in 2 games in a row, fine. Put up 1 goal and don't let Lexington score any. We'll take that too.
Yeah. I mean, we'll take that. Let's do as our good friend of the show, Alan, used to always say, score more goals than the other team. And that's a victory, right? Let's do this. Before we go to our score predictions, we're going to talk to one of those players that will definitely have an opportunity to make an impact against Lexington this Saturday. A defender who made his official debut with Orange County this past weekend, defender Tom Brewitt. Tom, first and foremost, welcome to our show. And how are you feeling?
No, thanks for having me. Really, really pleased to be here. Good to get off to a winning start on Saturday, and hopefully we can continue that forwards.
So you join Orange County. You have experience at the USL Championship level in the past with Tacoma, and I believe it was with Loudoun or Hartford, one of those two. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head. You go back to UK, and then now you're back here with Orange County in the USL Championship. How has that experience been? Did you take anything with you from the championship prior to leaving and now returning that you've said, oh, this is the same thing, let's keep doing it the way I was doing it before? What are your thoughts on that whole process? How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, no, of course. The differences between playing in England and playing here is massive in terms of the travel. You don't have to experience that when you're back in England. So that's something that I'm used to. I haven't been here or played in the USL for 2 years. So acclimatizing myself to that over the coming weeks and months will be key to having a successful season.
And coming onto this team, you wearing the captain's armband. Obviously, there was a very popular defensive captain prior to your arrival here. What kind of honor is it to wear a captain's armband and represent a team as a center back or as a defender on a team with aspirations of lifting the cup?
Yeah, of course, it's a massive privilege to lead this group of men and to lead this club. It's something I always aim to do in terms of being a leader, whether I'm wearing the armband or not. And it's nice to be recognised by the playing staff so early on in my time here that I can lead the group by wearing the armband.
And you got a good, solid set of defensive players, if not a very minimal amount of defensive players back there, right? So obviously there's always worry from fans when you look at it is about potential injuries from what you got. But what do you see with your fellow backline, your defensive teammates? What have you done, or how have you guys gelled so early in the season? And what potential improvements do you see between you and Dogman and Duty and Nico and whoever else is playing defense with you? What can fans anticipate going forward from you guys?
Now, look, I think we started the season strong on Saturday. I don't think any of us are happy with the fact that we conceded 2 goals. I'm certainly not. I mean, we'll talk about the second one as much as we want, but that's a different story. I won't say too much on that one. But no, we don't want to give up goals too easily, and we want to be resolute and hard to beat. And I think that starts on the training ground, building relationships with each other, and really demanding a level of expectation from one another. I think me and Nico have started to form a good relationship that's going to be key to our partnership in the heart of the back four. And as I say, we're going to be striving for clean sheets throughout this year because that gives us the best chance to win games.
Yeah, we're definitely going to win games, Tom. There's no question there. Great to have you on the show. Welcome for the very first time. Hopefully, the first of a whole bunch of times. I got 2 questions for you. That's all. First of all, at what age did you realize that you could make money and make a living as a professional athlete, as a professional soccer player? When did you realize, man, I'm pretty good at this?
Um, Early, I think. From the minute I could think, I always wanted to be a footballer. From the age of sort of 4 or 5, I had the ball at my feet. Um, Joining Liverpool at 10 years of age, and I think even at such a young age, you're training pretty much every day of the week. So yeah, it's an honour to play for the club that you brought up supporting, even at such a young age. And I think at that point, even though you're a long way away from being professional, it feels professional, it feels real. Um, even at 9 or 10 years of age. So even as far back as that, I'd say.
So relatively young. That's pretty cool to know that about yourself at that age. I'd like to talk a little bit about the captaincy. How did that come about? How did you get the armband? Was it the gaffer who made that decision? Was it the players who made the decision? And when did you find out that you were named captain of this team?
So I think the final decision that ends up being between Danny and Pete and the playing staff. I'm a firm believer that the group picks the captain. That in terms of being a leader on the field, you've got to represent the lads, and they've got to know that you've got their back, and you're going to demand and set a standard every day that you come to the training ground, and that's what I've tried to do. So in terms of the timeline on things, I think it was maybe slightly delayed because I had the small facial fracture halfway through pre-season, so I missed about 10 days. And when I came back from that, Danny, the gaffer, pulled me into his office, and yeah, he told me that I was going to be captain of the group for the year.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. One more question. This is actually a listener question from DK Jenks. How did you like the environment at the champ, seeing as this was your first official match in front of the Orange County fans and the County Line Coalition, the season, the team supporter group?
I loved it. Genuinely, I absolutely loved it. I got a little taste of it against Galaxy 2 a week prior, even though there were only smaller numbers, but no, it was brilliant. I think I said that in my post-game interview. It's our job as players to give you guys, to give the fans something to really shout about. And I think the biggest thing that we can do is show 110% effort every time we step on the field and represent the badge. And if we do that, the fans will get behind us, they'll be positive, and then, as I say, play an attractive, forward thinking football, and that's usually going to end up with us winning more games than we lose. And again, that's something to shout about. So no, I really appreciated the fans' warm welcome on Saturday.
That's great. Thanks, Tom. I'm going to turn you over. I'm going to let Dylan ask a couple of questions now. It's great having you here, and we'll talk to you again soon, pal.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Tom, a few questions from some of the listeners, and I think just to get to know more about Tom Brewitt, the person, and less Tom Brewitt, the player. Do you have a favorite restaurant here in Orange County yet that you've been to?
I'm a big Chipotle lover. I mean, I know that's not specific to Orange County, but I'm a big Chipotle guy. But to be honest, anywhere down near the water along the beach it's a gorgeous part of the world. I feel very privileged to be here. So yeah, anywhere down by the water is fine by me.
Follow up on that one. If you can give us your Chipotle order, please do. Also, what beach so far has been your favorite?
Chipotle orders the same every time. I get 2 tortillas warmed up on the sides, and then a double chicken bowl, cheese, sour cream, lettuce, spicy salsa. That's my whole Chipotle order off the top of my head. Um, and in terms of which beach, obviously Newport and Laguna are amazing beaches, and to go and sort of watch the sun go down there and clear your head, or it's a lovely spot. It's a gorgeous part of the world. Like I say, a privilege to be here.
Nice. And speaking on that, how are you liking Irvine?
No, it's again, like I say, it's a great part of the world. Orange County. From the day I got here, I think I called home within a few days, and my dad said that he could tell how much that I was loving it. Not just the football side, but in terms of the life outside of the training ground. The people have been very welcoming to me, super friendly. Um, so I've settled in really quickly, which is great.
Nice. And then Tom, one final one for you. What's your favorite vegetable, and how do you prepare it?
Um, I can't say I've ever been asked that question in an interview, to be fair. Favorite vegetable? I'd probably go for asparagus, just steamed. Bit of butter on it. Yeah, the asparagus, bit of steak would be my go-to, I think.
Thanks, Tom. Turning over to Brad, and I won't
Cheers.
tell your roommates.
Man, Tom, welcome aboard. I will swap back over to Tom the player instead of Tom the person a little bit. One question I do like to ask players when they join is, who do you model kind of your football style off of, your play off of?
I think growing up, the most obvious natural comparison for me was Jamie Carragher, a local lad coming through, and in terms of how he's a leader and how he sort of leaves everything out there on the field, that's something I want to take from his game and really put into mine. And then as I grew up and I started to identify players sort of of a similar stature to me, the Cannavaros of the world, the Carlos Puyols of the world, they're the sort of guys who I try to take inspiration from and take elements of their game and try and put them into mine.
All right. You're in a unique position where I don't think we've ever gotten to ask a player, to compare apples to apples, English professional football to the USL, and you've been in both for many a year. So I know obviously your most recent experience came in League Two. How does that compare to the USL Championship?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot, so I'm used to this question in terms of, but I think it's how you say apples to apples. It's not quite. It's more apples to pears. The styles of the two sides of the pond are very different. So American soccer as a whole, MLS, USL, for me, in my opinion, is very transitional. fast-paced, end-to-end dynamic. And I would say certainly the lower leagues in England are probably more structured and tactical in a way. The USL's grown a lot over the last few years, certainly since my first time here. And I think a huge part of, as I said earlier on in the podcast, the travel side of things has a huge impact. Where, I mean, we're going to go and play against Detroit and Pittsburgh and Charleston on the road, which as an Englishman, before I'd been here, is completely alien. It's kind of like flying all the way to Turkey for a league game. It's 3 time zones, a 6 hour flight, and having to deal with that in the different climates makes it difficult to compare. Um, but yeah, it's certainly different elements to both that I certainly enjoy.
Awesome. I feel like I'm going to set myself up for disappointment here, but as a Scouser yourself, Toffees or Liverpool?
I'm Liverpool, born and bred, yeah.
All right, well, ignore my background then. And then, last but not least, do you have any message for the fans after, your first week and looking forward to the next game at home as well?
No, like I say, I think they've been absolutely brilliant with me from day one. They've been loud, they've been positive, and that's huge as a group of players to feel every time we're at home. As I say, travel's a big part of this league, and if we can make the champ a difficult place to come as players, as fans, and sort of aligning all together, I think that's a big thing for me as captain to try and make sure from players to fans to staff to community, we all align in a common goal of having a successful 2025.
Right. Hey, Tom, I had a couple more questions I wanted to ask you. First one, the mask. Was the choice of a black mask intentional because of obviously the orange and black? Did you have any other color options there, or was it always going to be black?
No, look, unfortunately during pre-season I cracked my cheekbone in
Mm-hmm.
3 places. Um, and it was a case of I want to get back on the field as soon as possible, suffered minor concussion. But once I went through concussion protocol, I could get back onto the pitch with a layer of protection for the loose bone in my face effectively. And we found this, the doctors were great with me here. We connected with a company called Protect 3D. And it was really cool actually. They've got their own app. They scan my face and they 3D print this mask relevant to your face, protecting the area of your face that you need protecting. So unfortunately, no, I didn't have the colour say, but the black fit well, and you won't be able to see it, but it's got the Orange County crest and my number 5 next to it on my cheekbone, which I think is a pretty cool touch from the guys at Protect 3D.
All right, at the game this coming Saturday, I'm going to make sure that I get a picture of you and get that so that the fans can see that. I think they'll like that. One other question for me, Tom. This is one we like to ask all of our guests. Who gets in first and gets on the ox?
I'm in control of the Orcs at the minute. Whether the lads like that or not, I'm not sure, but they don't have much say. No, look, I try and accommodate everyone and get the feeling right for each given day. Obviously, when it comes to a game day, I like to get the music as loud as possible, get the energy pumping in the changing room, and set the tone from then. And throughout the week, I try to accommodate for everyone.
Okay. And then in regards to musical tastes, who, in your opinion, has the best and worst taste in music on the team?
Oh, too tough a question, that one. There's too many people that are hiding their music interest at the minute, which makes me skeptical. So I can't say just yet. Um, one or two of the interns that do an amazing job for us who work with Mario. I mean, every now and again I walk in the morning, I've got to turn their music down or off. So, I won't name any names, but sometimes the reggaeton at 8:30 in the morning's not exactly what you want to walk into. But no, as far as the players are concerned, I've not heard everyone's choice of music so far, but I'm sure I will as the season goes on.
All right. Well, we will absolutely make sure that later on in the season we have you on again, and then you can fully answer on who's got the best and worst.
No
Now,
problem. No problem.
I think Ray's got a few things for you.
Oh, I was going to interject real quick, Larry. This is a question that we do ask players over the course of the season. So, how many of the players are going to say you have the best or worst taste in music over the course of 2025?
As I say, I'd like to think I try to accommodate for everyone. It's one of them things that, especially on a game day, I'm really big on creating an environment and atmosphere in the locker room. Um, Throughout the week, they might not like my country music as much and my laid back R&B music as much, and I can accept that. But I think they appreciate the atmosphere I try to create on game day at least.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely get some more opinions as we get through later into the year. That'll be fun to hear. We've started this recently at the end of last season, and we're doing it now. I'm going to ask 10 rapid fire questions. They're this or that questions. This is just a way for our fans to get to know a little bit more about you. And there's usually a theme behind it. I go on to Google Gemini, tell it, hey, give me a theme or give me questions based on this theme. I don't know how well it did this time, but we'll see how it goes. So just first answer that comes to your mind, I want you to give it to me. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first question. Decades of legacy or building a legacy?
Building a legacy.
Packed stadiums or a core group of dedicated supporters?
Dedicated supporters.
FA Cup or US Open Cup?
FA Cup.
All right, better pre-match, at the pub or tailgate?
Tailgate.
Okay, Mighty Red or Gnarly?
Gnarly.
Promotion and relegation or playoffs?
Oh, tough. Both have got pros and cons. I'll go playoffs because I've not won that yet.
All right, the traditional soccer calendar or the US soccer calendar?
Traditional, even though it gets cold in the winter.
Not in Southern
Anfield or
California.
Anfield or Championship Soccer Stadium?
Oh, champion soccer stadium, of course.
Red or orange?
Orange.
All right, and the last one. You'll never walk alone or county roads?
County roads, of course. Look where I am.
I feel like there's a lot of answers based on your current location, but
look,
otherwise you might
that's
have
my
answered
motivation
differently
for
on some
this
of those.
season. That's my motivation for this season. It's as I say, it's a pleasure to be here and be a part of this club, and I want to make it a successful year, one to remember. And I think a big part of that is really sort of embedding myself in the culture with the fans, with the community, and that matters to me and it's important to me. So
Oh, we appreciate that. And I know the fans listening, watching, however they're hearing this, are 100% appreciating that as well. Tom, any last messages for our fans that are going to make it to the Championship Soccer Stadium this weekend and the rest of the season?
yeah, as always, be positive, be loud, sing as loud as you can, get behind the boys. We're going to give you something to shout about. We're going to give everything this season out on the field, and as I say, let's make it a successful 2025.
We're looking forward to it. Folks, defender, mask captain for your Orange County Soccer Club, Tom Brewitt. Maybe we can get him to pull that move that some athletes do and just make the mask a permanent thing because it looks really cool out there. Tom, thank you as always for joining our episode and our show, and we look forward to talking to you very soon.
No, thanks for having me. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. As always, awesome time when we have the players on the show so we get a chance to speak with them, especially when it's a newer addition to our roster. We love to hear what they have to say. We love to get to know them a little better, and that's what we try to do with this podcast when we have those players on the show. Let's do this. We were talking about this upcoming match. We didn't get to predictions before Tom joined us, so let's get to our predictions against Lexington. I got to keep my perfect streak going, but I'm going to wait to hear what you guys got first before we do that. Let's go to Larry first. What is your prediction for this upcoming match? Orange County hosting Lexington.
Orange County 3, Lexington 1.
Brad, what is your prediction?
I think Larry had a very good prediction, and I feel no guilt, unlike you last week, stealing from Larry. So I'll agree with the good man to my right.
Stealing from Larry? No way. Dylan.
I liken myself the voice of the people, and the people are saying 2-1, which I also agree with. Yeah.
Yeah, that was where I was leaning, Dylan, but I don't want to steal your prediction. So I'm going to do this. We're going to get those 2 goals, but we're also going to see the return of shutout Shuttler in this match. So 2-0, Orange County comes out victorious, and hopefully I'm correct again, and it becomes very good for me. I'll make sure to submit it too, Brad, so you can keep track of it so I can win this year. I need to actually come through and win this year. That's my goal. So that's why I'm giving legit predictions instead of the Dylan favorite of 5-0 to the opposing team, because I want to win. All right, let's do this. Before we get into any random thoughts on from anyone, I do want to just briefly get onto this, because beginning next weekend, our show will have not started yet for next week's episode before this starts, but the U.S. Open Cup is starting next Tuesday. On the East Coast, obviously, you'll have matches that start earlier than when we would start our show. So by this time next week, the Open Cup is started. How excited are we all for the Open Cup in 2025? Dylan, you first.
I'm not, man. This is about the league for me.
You're not even, the Open Cup's just an afterthought for you. And by all means, I just want to call it out. It's Orange County isn't participating in the Open Cup in this part of it yet. But again, it is just sort of the official start of it. There is a local amateur team, Laguna United, that is participating. They will be playing the Galaxy 2 Ventura County Thousand Oaks soccer boys. So just wanted to make sure everyone knows it's not Orange County's turn yet, but they will eventually be part of that. Larry, your thoughts on the Open Cup? Are you excited, or are you like Dylan? Is like, who cares?
For the time being, not a big deal. Once Orange County Soccer Club has a game scheduled, ask me again. I'll be pretty fired up, ready to go.
All right, Brad, am I the only one that is sort of excited about this, or are you going to join me on that path to glory?
No, I am firmly in the camp of Moga. Make the Open Cup great again.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, for those that don't know, like I said, there is a local amateur squad, Laguna United FC. They are participating in the Open Cup next Tuesday, kickoff at 7:30 at Carson. And I believe, from what I've been told, it's free admission to the match. So anyone that wants to go watch some soccer out in Carson and cheer against the Galaxy 2 Thousand Oaks guys, go for it. Come out and do so and support. We like to support local. Laguna United is a local soccer club in Orange County. So come out and support. Obviously, we want you to watch the show too. So be there, but also watch our show while you're at the game. But yeah, that's how that works. Random thoughts from anyone. Who has a random thought?
I have a random thought.
I do. Well, I like this random thought that's on the screen right now, Larry. So go ahead and read that one off.
We want the burrito restaurant team to go far this year. I don't know what that means.
Don't worry, producer Andy's got you covered, so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, thanks, Andy. We can always rely on Andy. Where would all of us be without Andy? We wouldn't have a drum in the County Line Coalition. We wouldn't know what we were doing. We wouldn't be able to figure out a link to get this show started. My random thought, okay, bear with me, y'all. When you are a fan of a sports team, sometimes something in a season just magical happens, and it leads to absolute greatness for the rest of that season. Now, back in 2021, I think every one of us, September 25th, 2021, I think we all remember that Mikko Kuningas goal, stoppage time for the winner, him jumping the barricade, coming up to the County Line Coalition. When that moment happened in that game, I knew that something special was going to happen the rest of this year. I felt that again on Saturday night when Nico, not Mikko, but Nico, scored that free kick and then went sprinting over to the sidelines, almost killed himself on the concrete. I spoke with him and I told him to please don't do that again. We can't have him injured on something like that. To go and celebrate with his parents who had flown all the way in from Connecticut and surprised him for this game. That was magic. That was emotion. Seeing the rest of the team come and join him over there and just hugging and shouting and celebrating and seeing the pride in his parents' face and his mom in tears. It was magic. It was absolute magic. And that makes this is just me, makes me feel like something very special is going to happen this year with this team. Now, this magic moment happened really, really early in the season. Maybe there will be others, but that's my thought right now in regards to that.
Yeah, I was really worried when I saw Nico go to celebrate, and I just had in my mind he's going to slip on that concrete, and lo and behold, he did. But I'm glad I saw him pop back up, and he seemed okay. So that's the good news. Dylan?
This is further proof that you manifest all of these things happening. So stop doing that. This is why you're
Go
canceled.
for it, Brad. Go for it, Brad.
My random thought this week is I learned Larry's part Canadian, maple syrup specifically, because he's got a lot of sap in him.
I'm sappy as hell. I know. We know.
Oh, wait. Don't we have something that, do we have a sound effect like the whole, like, no, we don't have the comedy drum sound effect. We'll have to add that, producer Andy. Make sure we put a note on that going forward. What did we learn this episode, fellas? Dylan, what did you learn? See, producer Andy's excited for this part of the show. Dylan, what did you learn this episode? And we're gonna try and see if we can get a better version of that. I'm gonna work on that. Dylan, what did you learn?
The captain's a smart man, and he knows exactly what to say, I believe.
Larry, what did you learn this episode?
Literally, Dylan said almost verbatim what I was going to say. I loved Tom's answers. I thought they were fantastic. And you know what? He answered to his audience, which that makes him a very, very smart man. So good on you, Tom.
All right, Brad, your turn. Are you going to still that same thing that you learned, or did you learn something completely different?
No, I learned something completely different. I learned that that the USL to the English football leagues is apples to pears, and thank God it wasn't apples to asparagus like his vegetable.
All right. I learned that apparently you all don't like me, including some of our listeners. They want to cancel me.
You already knew that.
You already knew that. This is not new.
And I guess apparently I learned that Tottenham's in North London. I didn't realize that that's where they were located. So I learned that this episode as well.
And Lexington.
With that said, I did learn that. I did learn that Lexington's in Kentucky too. You guys made me very aware that it is in Kentucky and not South Carolina.
Geography with Ray.
Yeah. Geography with Ray. That would be the great, that'll be, well, let's rebrand this Geography with Ray instead of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. We could do that.
Hey guys, we got 3 points this week. Let's get another 3 points. Oh, you're done now. I was
going to wrap things up. Before we wrap things up, though, I do want to ask you all to like or share or subscribe the show on social medias, on the podcast platforms, on YouTube, wherever you find us. Please do that. Like, share, comment, do all that fun stuff so that we can get our beautiful faces shared around the world and our beautiful voices shared around the world as well. I want to thank, as always, okay, Larry's pointing at his head for some reason.
Yes, I am. Also, if you have not done it yet, go on to the Orange and Black Soccer Cast Instagram page. Find the post about Nico's Benalcazar's goal. Follow the link. Go to USL Championship page and vote for Nico for goal of the week. Right now, he's crushing it, but let's keep pouring in the votes. Let's make sure that he wins this. So if you haven't done that, go do that.
Do that. At this time, I'd like to thank our guest for this episode, OCSC defender, captain, masked, amazing man, Tom Brewitt, for joining us. Also, my co-hosts, Dylan, Larry, and Brad. Also, producer Andy. All of y'all that listened, participated in the comments, and had fun with us along the way. Thank you for doing so as well. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. We are out.